Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently in position for a rescue effort here. And of course we're going to go ahead and turn towards target, which I believe is over here. Yes, perfect. And we're going to just get a little bit closer. I want to be slightly closer than this, and we'll just move up to around 1.5 meters per second, because of course we'll have to brake, and we've only got so much delta V. So we'll just go ahead and allow this to close in a little bit. And we'll close in until we're maybe 20 meters apart or so. 20 might be a little close. We'll have to see how I feel. 60 is still a little far, in my opinion. I mean, we could make it work. There's no doubt about that. But I don't want to. So we're just going to close in as close as we can here. Bring this in, like I said, about 20 meters, I think is good. So we'll be somewhere around here. We'll start to slow down. There we go. Currently at 0.0 meters per second. I believe we're slightly drifting away from them, but I want to turn over to be somewhere like in orbital prograde. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to switch over to this one and also be in orbital prograde. There we go. Fantastic. Now, the first one that we're going to move is Sanzor. We have to pretend that we moved him. Okay, so Sanzor is now moved, and Bob is going to then EVA. And Bob, what he's going to do is he is going to try to make his way up here. He's going to let go of this, make his way up, and he's going to take all of the data from here. Excellent. And with the data from the experiment storage unit, he's going to make his way on over. I can't remember which side has the crew hatch, but I can see that there's a crew hatch over here, so should be fine. Let's just make our way over. And can we actually access this? We may have to go to this crew hatch, which is currently helpfully on the bottom. Let's go ahead and make our way in. That was the wrong direction. There we go. And now Bob is aboard with a bunch of this science. I'm not sure how much we're actually going to be able to store here, but we already moved Sanzor over. He was the first one to move over. So then we'll have Jebediah come on out. I don't know what you're holding on to, Jebediah, but that's okay. We'll take what data we can here. We may not be able to store it all, and that's okay if we can't. If we can't store all that data, that is completely fine. So we're going to come on back over this way, get ourselves a nice little free spacewalk, and we will make our way on in here. Actually, I'll just grab this. And then we'll hop in. Technically, Sanzor, I guess, hasn't been moved yet, right? So we'll cannot board a full module. Okay, yeah, we're going to need to move down into here. So I'm going to hop in here, and we're going to move Bob Kerman over. So we'll transfer crew Bob Kerman to transfer to this part. And then we're also going to transfer in Gilly Kerman to transfer to this part. Excellent. And then we'll hop back over to Jebediah. Jeb can hop in. Yes, I expected this, but I'm going to actually hold off. I want to see if we can grab any of this here. No, we can't move this science, I don't think. That's fine. So we're going to have to just lose this science. I accept this. This is the cost of doing the rescue mission. Okay, so at this point, Sanzor is still over there. I know I said that we're going to pretend that we moved him, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hop Gilly out. Oh, Gilly actually can't because automatic EVA is disabled because we need to activate a hatch. Oh, well, Jeb could hop out or Valentina. We're going to have Valentina be the one that hops out. And Valentina has received special training for this. So what she's going to do is she's going to let go, and her mission is to head up here and go grab Sanzor. Like so. Nope, we need to move over this way. Remember your training, Valentina. Remember your training. Excellent. Okay, so Valentina is now here. And yeah, this is going to start tumbling. This is expected. So Valentina is now getting Sanzor out of the hatch, coaching him through the process of putting on the spacesuit and all this stuff. And now he's coming out of the hatch, so we're going to go ahead and let her go. There we go. And then she's going to hang here. Sanzor is now out of the hatch. We're pretending. And we're hooking up right now. We're hooking up a tether so that he doesn't get floated away from Valentina. There we go. He is now tethered. And we are going to head over here now. Excellent. So with Sanzor tethered, we're going to come on over. There we go. We'll grab onto here. And now we're pulling Sanzor in. There we go. And we're telling him to grab on right here. There we go. We're letting go so that he can grab on. And as soon as Valentina realizes that she can control this... There we go. There we go. Sanzor has now grabbed on. And he is now entering the vehicle where Jebediah will coach him through removing the suit. He is still occupying the airlock, though, so Valentina is just going to have to hang out over here for just a moment. His suit is now off. He has succeeded in removing his EVA suit, and he is now proceeding through the airlock. So that, of course, means that Valentina can now hop in the airlock. And there we go. That is everyone here, including Sanzor. You can see here we've got Valentina, Jebediah, and Sanzor in our third slot here. No, I said you could see that. You can definitely see it, right? Yeah, Sanzor's right here. Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. So this is just going to continue tumbling. And that is our rescue mission complete. Now we need to bring them back. So the question is, should we burn at the periapsis here? What would this give us? That would give us quite a wacky escape velocity. Let's pass on that one. Let's burn at the apoapsis, and that would also give us a quite wacky escape velocity. So we want to burn somewhere around here. Prograde. This is not very much DV required. Oh yeah, we have plenty of DV to make this happen. I don't want that radial burn. And we want to have this be somewhere around 50 kilometers. Actually, I'm going to target 60 here, and we'll adjust that later with a radial retrograde burn. So we'll just have this be about 60 kilometers. Excellent. And we'll just position at the node here. There we go. I'm not sure who's piloting this thing right now. We've got 3 pilots here. But we'll warp to the next maneuver. This is a 19-second burn. Excellent. So this is a fantastic... I would say this is a fantastic start to our tourism program. This isn't exactly a start, but this is a fantastic advertisement for our tourism program, I think. So we want to burn this at, of course, T minus 9.5 seconds. And this is going to be a, what, pure prograde burn here? Yeah. So we want to burn this now. Off we go. And we have achieved escape velocity from the moon, and we will return back. Just watching our periapsis here until we reach approximately the correct location. I just want to keep bringing that down a little bit here, down to that 60K mark. There we go. So technically we will re-enter, as this is right now. But this is going to take a lot of aerobrake passes. We have 600 meters per second, though, and there is a plan for it. We have the world's first rendezvous maneuver around the moon, and the world's first crew transfer near the moon. Fantastic. So there's that all done. And of course, we have a mission to do some other things here, but that'll take a little bit of time. Yeah, this should be completely fine to do all of this. Maybe not all in one mission, but that's a problem that we can tackle a little bit later on. For now, we'll go ahead and warp here. We're getting out of here. Later, moon. Excellent. So we are almost... Actually, we have escaped from the moon's velocity, right? Actually, not quite. I'd like to warp to here. So that's going to be escape from the moon. There we go. And we are now away from the moon. We're not necessarily going to want to hit prograde. That's not a great idea. But what we are going to want to do is, first off, focus on Kerbal. And then somewhere around here, we'd like to burn pretty retrograde. We're going to need some radial in this, though. And we're going to need to burn radial around... Actually, let's have this target somewhere around 40k. We may bounce out of the atmosphere the first time, but the second arrow break, we should be fine. But we still have another 50 DV to burn here. So we can do something along the lines of that. And then that'll leave us with some small amount, and we'll just keep burning that same ratio, probably. This is going to be a relatively safe re-entry, but it's also going to be an energetic one. Let's go ahead and warp to that next maneuver. That is, of course, going to be in 5 hours. It's going to be a 54-second burn, so we want to burn this at T-minus 29 seconds. You can see here we are falling towards the periapsis. Goodbye, moon! Hello, Kerbal. And of course, prograde is not going to be where we're going to want to be. This is a retrograde radial burn. Mostly retrograde, but a little bit radial. So we will just position right here. We, of course, can't lock to maneuver just yet. Valentina and Jebediah are not skilled enough for that. And let's go ahead and begin this burn at T-minus 29 seconds. So we're going to warp towards that. Right now. Excellent. And with that, you can see our apoapsis is dropping dramatically. And our periapsis is dropping a little bit too, and that's okay. That's exactly what we want. We just want to burn this and lower our orbital velocity a fair amount for re-entry. And I do want to burn off everything here. And then we'll ditch this in orbit. It'll actually burn up in the atmosphere at this point. Just adjusting our heading a little bit, and we will finish this burn in full. And we're burning this just before entering the atmosphere as well, as a kind of pre-re-entry burn. There we go. And let's see what our final orbit looks like. 40k, 544k. Not bad at all. Let's go ahead and ditch that stage. I wanted to angle it off so that we have no chance of hitting it later on. Okay. We should be completely fine on electric charge, I hope, during our re-entry. We do have our solar panels. We are coming in on the dark side. However, our periapsis is pretty much at the terminator, so I think we'll be okay in terms of electric charge. Hopefully, our heat shield does its job, and this crew cabin with Bob and Gilly don't burn up. If they do, it's not the end of the world. That said, our drogue chutes are attached to it, which is definitely a little bit on the spooky side. But hopefully now that we're able to just lock retrograde and we've got the ASAS on here, we should, I think, be completely fine and not have any heating issues, especially since our periapsis height isn't particularly low. Like I said, we may end up bouncing out of the atmosphere on this aero brake pass. I don't think we will on the next one, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and physics warp for now. Okay, we should not be physics warping anymore. I'm always skittish about physics warping when we are in a situation like this. The time to periapsis is decreasing. I think we might bounce off the atmosphere here, which is okay. I wouldn't mind a second aero brake pass here, in all honesty. You can see here, even though we're approaching periapsis, our surface speed is already decreasing by a pretty hefty margin. Our ablator is doing its job and is ablating nicely. Excellent. We're going to be down another, not quite 10 kilometers. You can see here our electric charge is increasing right now. That's good. I would like to be shedding a lot more speed, but we're still pretty high up. I'm beginning to think that we are not going to bounce here. We're not going to take a second aero brake pass. That's fine. That is completely fine. Was this maybe an aggressive re-entry? I really don't think it was an aggressive re-entry. I think that this was a pretty cautious one. We'll see if our heat shield holds. Our retrograde position absolutely should hold. And I mean, we're not going to run out of ablator, right? It would be our angling that might mess up. You can see here our apoapsis height is entering the atmosphere as of now. So we are definitely not coming back. We are committed to this course. Periapsis height has entered the ground. That's great. We're still 36 kilometers up, which is fine. We're going pretty fast, but our heat shield is doing its job. And Valentina is doing a great job of holding surface retrograde. We are, of course, continuing to decelerate here. And we're starting to decelerate pretty quickly. We're still going pretty fast. There's no doubt about that. If we were to lose attitude, we would break up. And we would lose everybody we've got, which would hurt tremendously. This is kind of an all eggs in one basket situation here. There's no doubt about that. That would hurt. And we've got our tourist here. He's definitely inside of this module. 100% definitely. We're down to 1,700 meters per second. We're completely fine at this point. There's no worries here. Even if we were to lose attitude at this point, I think we would be perfectly safe. Maybe not perfectly safe, but we'd be pretty safe at this point if we were to lose attitude. But we're not going to lose attitude. That is not a thing that is likely to happen. We're down to 1,300 meters per second, and it is looking great. I'm very pleased with this re-entry. This is a bit of a graphical bug here. You can safely ignore these dark areas. We'll just pan the camera like that. We're down under a kilometer per second and decreasing quickly. At this point, we no longer need SAS on. We should be aerodynamically stable enough to handle this, and even if we start tumbling, that'll be good for our deceleration. Drogue chutes are now deployable. I'm holding off on that just for the sake of time. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. We're still decelerating dramatically. Yeah, this overall worked very well. We could have definitely had an issue if we had lost attitude, but I never thought that we would lose attitude with the ASAS in there. Between that and the infinite power we had from our solar panels, perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and deploy our drogue chutes at this point. Not that they're strictly speaking necessary, but out of an abundance of caution for Sanzor's life. Excellent. And we can now physics warp down to the ground. Overall, that was an extremely successful flight. Oh my, I did not anticipate that happening. And then the main pulls it right back. Good to know. That's a very awkward situation. The drogues pull us upside down, and then the main pulls us back. We should be okay impacting at this velocity, I think. If we lose this, it's not the end of the world. Sanzor is, of course, in this module. Yeah, it's fine. As I thought. Okay, so let's go ahead and recover that. Sanzor is in the main module, so that, of course, means that we have to finish that contract manually, because we rescued Sanzor. and brought him right on back. And he's perfectly happy. He was super... I was a little concerned about the PR with Sanzor, right? I thought that he'd be like, oh, well, they didn't manage to get us with that one flight. But no, actually, he was super enthused that he got a spacewalk out of it for free. So that's great. That is absolutely fantastic. So that is... I honestly don't know which one of these it is. Oh, this is her and her. Sanzor is male, is he not? Yeah, Sanzor is male. That's convenient for us. So it's this one that is Sanzor. There we go. We brought Sanzor back, and at this point, I don't know if he's technically still within the Free India Mark 6. Is he still in here? Technically he is. That's funny. We're just going to terminate this because this is now space junk and we're not going to track it. There we go. Perfect. So Sanzor's mission was a success and he was actually super happy with the spacewalk. He was very, very excited about that. We've returned home from orbit of the moon and we have ferried a VIP safely to his destination. Well, kind of anyway. Excellent. So in mission control here, I feel like we don't actually need anything else. I think that what we have right now is perfectly fine. Okay, so we need to do a moon flyby in orbit of the moon for Catley. For Anhat, we need an orbit of the moon and flyby as well. Okay. And then for this one, all we need is an orbit around Kerbal. That is ludicrously easy to do. So maybe we should fly a Calashuris. That is, of course, this guy. We could fly a Calashuris here and have the crew be, say... Let's see, I'm just wondering... Yeah, Gilly did get XP there. Okay, that's good. We could have this be... Who do we need? Lenlock and Alan. These guys. Okay. Now this is wildly overkill in terms of an orbit around Kerbal. That said, these guys are willing to pay us more than the cost of this rocket by a substantial margin. So maybe that's okay. We're kind of using the Calashuris as our new tourism craft because it has pretty great capabilities for that, honestly. It's a good rescue craft and a good tourist craft, so we can kind of use the same thing for multiple purposes. And that will be absolutely fantastic. So let's just take Alan and Lennox up to their destination, which they want an orbit around Kerbal. And then a suborbital spaceflight on Kerbal, which we will give them as we come back. So off we go. Excellent. Pretty soon we're probably going to stop running tourists, but I just wanted to build up a bit of a nest egg. So this should be completely fine. Get ourselves up to around 100 meters per second. There we go. We'll switch over into orbital mode, and we'll just start making our way ever so gently over here. It does need to be quite gentle for right now. Our apoapsis height is, of course, not where we want it to be just yet. But we are burning off fuel, and our engine is getting more efficient as the atmosphere goes down, so, of course, we are getting more and more power out of this all the time. Just very gently heading over to the prograde marker. That is not super gentle here. Jeb? Jeb? You good? Jeb's good. Okay, Jeb got that under control. That was a little bit aggressive as far as I'm concerned, so we're going to try to hold over this way to try to make up for it. Jeb is not doing the best job right now, if I'm honest. But it's fine. We're going to try to hold stable here for right now. Reason being, we're going to need to be stable for our side boosters to come off. I am going to rotate us a little bit here, but overall, that'll have to do. Okay. Side boosters off, and away we go. So Jeb, you can head on over to Prograde now. You were a little bit ambitious on getting to Prograde earlier, in all honesty. I think we'll take this up to 80 kilometers. That should be fine. We're definitely a little early on our parallel burn, so that'll be just fine to get us up to around here. We're going to have to move pretty quick, so we'll go ahead and get ourselves our maneuver node. Something along the lines of this will do just fine. And we'll head on over to the maneuver node. This is going to need to be burned basically immediately. We don't know what the actual burn time is, though, because we are still not in space just yet. So we're just going to burn this right here. And we'll reevaluate once we're in space exactly what we need for our burn time. It's not like we have a shortage of Delta V, though. That is not going to be a thing. Excellent. So we'll hop up into space now. There we go. And we can see that we have a node in T-minus 52 seconds, and our burn time is 1.5 minutes. So this is actually pretty close to perfect. We need, let's see here, 40 seconds once we hit 40. So just a very, very small stop there. This was almost perfect in terms of timing. Wonderful. Okay. 2, 1, 0. Excellent. And let's get this burn finished up, shall we? We'll be in orbit momentarily. We already have that suborbital spaceflight on Kerbin component. We just need to get the orbit around Kerbin component. I'm not sure if we have to give them a full orbit or just enter orbit, though. I guess we'll find out. So, of course, we need about another 250 meters per second here. That'll be fine to get. Absolutely no worries there. It's not like we're short on DV for this mission. Absolutely not. Even with the awkward ascent. Thanks, Jeb. I like how I'm blaming Jeb when it was definitely my fault. But yes, it was definitely Jeb's fault. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. And yeah, our apoapsis height is definitely up there. I'm going to burn ourselves a little bit more radial here. Just to, actually, I need to be burning anti-radial here, don't I? I need to burn this way. Yeah, we need an anti-radial burn here because of our timings. That's fine. We've got plenty of DV to make that happen. There we go. I'm going to take this up to 80 kilometers here. There we go. That'll be fine. And that gets us our suborbital spaceflight on Kerbin and our orbit around Kerbin, so that is ideal. We will hop over into retrograde. This is close enough. And at the periapsis, or rather at the apoapsis, we'll go ahead and drop our periapsis down to about 20K, I think. I'm going to go for 25. Should be more than fine. We'll go ahead and warp to that maneuver. Excellent. And then we will, of course, have to bring these guys home. We're going to try to rescue this stage as well to just save a little bit of extra money. This is going to be a 5-second burn. We'll just lock to prograde and burn this at T-minus 2.5 seconds. Okay, so we'll lock there and burn now. Okay, there we go. That's 25 kilometers on the periapsis. Perfect. We will stay in retrograde, and we'll just go ahead and warp until we are in the atmosphere. And we'll just bring these guys straight on home. Excellent. They do pretty much get a full orbit out of it as well, which is just fine for them. So obviously, since we're trying to rescue this, we'll do a re-entry burn once we're a little bit lower in here. And we'll bleed off a lot of Delta V. We are, of course, not going back up. We are completely captured by the atmosphere here, and that's fine. So we're just warping ahead here in physics warp until we get going a little bit, I would say faster, but until we're a little lower in the atmosphere. Yes, this is not tremendously efficient for the Terrier fuel engine, or for the Terrier engine, rather. But that's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and start bleeding off this speed, just because I want to get down quick. Excellent. We do still have over 2 minutes of burn left in this tank. This was way more than we needed, and we knew that when we launched this. This was pretty much always the plan. Excellent. You can see here our speed declining rather quickly, even though we are still pretty high up. That's fine. We will be splashing down, looks like. Yeah, we'll absolutely be splashing down. 100 seconds of burn left. I am going to keep having somewhere around 100 meters per second of fuel in the tank. 100 meters per second is probably a lot. I'm actually going to go by burn time. We'll keep 10 seconds of burn in the tank. Excellent. Once again, we should have no problem holding attitude. Even if we lose attitude at this point, it's not a problem. But the ASAS should handle that just fine. About 1 minute of burn left on this burn, and then we will save the remaining fuel for our actual landing burn. I gotta say, it is very awkward to do landing burns with parachutes, but it works fine in Kerbal because it's rigid. It would not work fine in reality. Not in the slightest. But we have slowed down extremely dramatically. That's great. Our thrust to weight is actually over 1.0 at this altitude. Mostly because we burned almost all of our fuel, but even so, that's kind of insane that we can actually beat gravity here. Now, that's not going to be the case when we get down to sea level, of course, but even so, that's fine. 10 seconds left in this burn. And we're going to keep a 10-second burn. There we go. We'll go ahead and stop that. We're going to move this guy up, and we're going to drop the drogue chutes pretty soon. We no longer need SAS on. Excellent. And down we come. And if we have to, which we don't, we could bleed off additional speed with that 120 meters per second. But we have our drogue chutes available, and so we shall activate them. With our drogue chutes out, I'm perfectly comfortable going into physics warp. Our main chute will deploy now. There we go. Ooh, that pulled us around. Interesting. Once they actually deploy, they should pull us back, though. There go the drogues, pulling us upside down, as expected. We're pulling back now, actually. And it's just because of our center of mass. Our center of mass is quite a lot different with this tank and engine here. So that is to be expected. We're going to go ahead and try to hold retrograde here. We may as well. Just make that a little bit more stable of a re-entry. And our main will deploy now, bringing us down to what speed? Okay. Only about 12 meters per second. I like it. We'll warp down towards the surface, and then we will get ourselves that sweet, sweet landing burn. Okay. Here we are, almost to the surface. And we will just slow down a little bit with our landing burn, just to make absolutely sure. There we go. That shaves off about 2 meters per second. I like it. Now we're going to tip over in the water, most likely. Actually, our SAS is completely capable of holding us steady. I like it. Let's go ahead and recover that, and that will, of course, complete that contract. Perfect. As soon as it loads. Eventually. Yeah, we got 0 science from that, but that's fine. We did recover about 3,000 from parts. That's great. And of course, we completed our contract parameters. The tour was a success. They had nothing but great things to say about the trip and brought back plenty of photos. I should hope so. Okay, and with that, it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to continue probably going through these tourist missions, and then we're going to start looking at maybe rendezvousing in orbit of Kerbin, and maybe landing on the moon. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.